Welcome to.
And horror for all.
Here we go. I am GoreAphobe.
And I'm the Nightwatch Zone, so let's do it.
Yep, here we are. Did you see Netflix? It's got a remake of The Howling.
It does.
I just seen that. They're
Oh,
I'm not sure when it's coming out, but it's gonna be Netflix. So
wow.
yeah,
I'll be honest with you, man. First of all, The Howling, the original movie, the first movie, um, is a to me a classic. I absolutely love that movie. I've spoken so much about Dee Wallace on my channel. That's not even funny. She literally can do no wrong in my eyes. So that first movie is like gold.
yes.
Uh,
I,
and
I
then
love
we
the Mrs. Coriander about it. I love the Miss Coriander about it because she
yes.
loves Rick and World in London so much. And I remember one time about a year ago in a chat, I was like, "And The Howling, the best werewolf movie ever made." She was just cracking up.
Yes, yes. I mean, she likes the Howling, but yeah, she's an American Werewolf girl, so it's all good. But I think the thing that was great about the Howling is that it had some really cool atmosphere, and there was more sense of terror,
Oh,
in that movie versus an American Werewolf. American Werewolf had moments, but also was laced with, John Landis's brand of comedy and humor, which was fine for what it is. But the first movie is fantastic. The second movie, where we have Sybil Danning, that that's when it gets a little crazy. I mean, other than her, I mean, it's
yeah, well, you got Derek Rose and London's pointed at a younger crowd, I think, and then the
yeah,
Howling was designed for a more mature and older horror crowd.
right,
Um,
right,
the,
right,
the thing about it is I think that worked because Rob Bottin, that was really his first makeup work. So
yeah,
people talk about how dark it is, and I think it was done on purpose because
yeah,
he was still young, he was still learning, and I think
yeah.
that darkness was meant to mask some of the things he really didn't have down yet. You
Right,
know.
right, right. And he did some of that stuff in The Thing as well, man, because he was making fantastic stuff. And even John Carpenter said that a lot of times on set they were like, "Dude, you're creating all this fantastic stuff, but you're kind of masking it in a little bit too much darkness." But he was just trying to make things look as real as possible, and he knew the limitations that they
Right.
had back in '82. So, definitely shout out to Rob Bottin, one of the best of all time. But you're right. The second movie definitely was kind of geared in another way. And then I'll be honest with you, man, I don't even remember The Howling 3. I mean, I don't even remember it.
I don't.
And
I like I haven't seen it.
I saw it a long time ago, but I don't even remember it, man. I just kind of had given up on that franchise. But if this is a remake of the first movie, um
Sure, where they're going with it. It's the first
it,
time I ever heard about it.
yeah, I
It was like the Howling.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I had heard about it at all, but if it is a remake of the first movie, there could be some interesting stuff in it. It could, if
Yeah,
they do it right. Here's the
yes,
thing,
yeah.
and I know how you already feel about this, but just to say it for this episode, here's the problem is that when you're talking about werewolf movies nowadays, you run into the big fork in the road, whereas do we do it practical or do we screw it up with too much CGI? You
Good
know?
point. That's scary because I hope they don't go with the CGI because people will shit all over it.
Well, but here's the thing, man. I I don't know if I necessarily have faith that they won't use a bunch of CGI because it makes me think back to did you see The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins?
Yes.
Yeah. So Rick Baker from An American Werewolf and so many other things was so psyched to be working on that project because he wanted to up the ante from what he did in American Werewolf in London, and he
Yeah.
he had all the stuff laid out. He was ready to rock and roll to do something even more fantastic than they did in an American Werewolf. And then, kind of at the last minute, the studio kind of stepped in and said, "Yeah, we got to add some CGI. We got to smooth things out. Blah 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 blah." And that movie had a lot of scenes where you had the CGI that really took you out of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Rick Baker was so disappointed with how that all went down. I think I saw him on an interview with Joe Rogan, and he was talking about it. So if studios are going to mess with the master, Rick
Uh,
Baker, I don't know, man. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong and they do go down the practical effects road. I mean, you know, as long as it's mostly practical, you can use CGI to smooth it out a little bit, like they do with The Walking Dead. You know, they use a
Right.
little bit of CGI to smooth things out, just a little bit, but it's really Nicotero and those guys using practical. You know, I think that's how they should do it.
Right. And then you got the other side of the coin with the prequel to The Thing, which is a good movie. It
Yes.
really is. And it ties in and brings you right to the beginning of the original Thing.
Yep.
But it took people out of it with the CGI.
Yep. Yep.
And people completely ignore the fact that that prequel is a good show because of
Right.
that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. They put in a lot of good work. You could tell that they mapped it out. They knew where things were situated from the 82 movie, like when they go to the to um the research facility and you see things in certain spots that we know will line up when Kurt Russell eventually gets there from the 82 movie. So they did their research and they had good hearts in it, but same
yeah,
type of thing, man. The studio stepped in, said, hey, we gotta CGI this thing up a little bit, and of course a little bit meant
yeah.
too much. It's too bad. It's too bad.
And especially with the end, because the end's exciting because it starts with a helicopter,
Yep.
and then you even got the music. So I mean,
Yes.
the thought was in the right place. It's just that people are
Yep.
so prejudiced against that. They will shit on it in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
mean, I
yeah,
mean, I I mean, I will say this, some movies, can do CGI well where it works, or like I said, it's used just enough, but not too much. So usually, I have to see it first to make a judgment. But usually, if it's too much CGI, it does
yeah,
just seem to take you out of it. So, but it is what it is, man.
they were stiffed it just enough to take people out,
Yep.
where The Walking Dead didn't so much early on.
Right. I agree.
I guess that's the difference between I guess that's just the difference between a Nicotero and him being a producer also of The Walking Dead made a difference too. I'm sure.
Right, right, right. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a lot more power, and they had learned from mistakes made
Mhm.
by the creators of the Wolfman and things like that. Because I can just
Right.
imagine being Rick Baker and then stepping in and saying, "I'm Eva's like, fuck you, man."
Right? Yeah,
We
man. It's
got
too bad.
have you heard anything about any more about the new Evil Dead or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen some of the new images that they put out about it, and I gotta admit, man, I'm getting pretty excited for it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the franchise.
yeah,
I think the well, it is a sequel. The sequel from 2013, I thought it was really, really good. I mean, I guess we could say it's kind of like a reboot sequel. It
right?
is in the same universe. I'll call it a sequel, but a lot of people call
So
it
it is
the
connected to the
remake.
remake.
You mean the last one, the remake one?
Yeah, I mean, is it connected to that one, or do you know for sure? Because I'm not sure if they told anybody, or I hadn't heard it yet.
Oh, you mean the new movie?
Yes,
Yeah, I don't know. They did. I did read
they're keeping
that
them quiet about it.
yeah, the director. First of all, the director was handpicked by Sam Raimi, so that's good news. Like
Oh, okay,
Sam saw his I think it was his feature film debut or whatever, and said, "Yep, you're going to be the Evil Dead Rise director." And the director has also been a fan of the Evil Dead since he was like a kid, like 10 years old. Um, but he did admit that the movie's timeline is a little bit all over the place, even with one, two, and Army of Darkness, and then of course the reboot slash sequel, whatever we want to call it. So he said that. So in other words, he didn't say if it was directly following those movies or not, but he did say it's in the same universe. And he said the book is in the movie, so the Necronomicon is in the movie, so it's connected,
cool.
but it's probably just loosely connected, I would assume. He said there's Easter eggs,
Right.
from the other movies in this new movie as well, so that's cool.
Well, I guess it's about I guess it's about two sisters is what I'm gathering so far,
Hmm.
and they're in a high rise, and that's
Yes.
about the most that I know about it. So Betty Alvarez, the creator of the remake, not having anything to do with it. I
Right.
don't know. I guess it could go either way because Fede Alvarez did a great job of that remake. I would love for him to been involved.
Yeah, I think I don't know, maybe he just figured he just wanted to do some other stuff and so forth and so forth, but I thought he did a hell of a job on that movie and obviously with Don't Breathe and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
um yeah, it's too bad because I would have loved to have seen what's her name? Jane Levy
Oh
from the
yeah.
remake. I would have loved to see her character kind of move forward after that movie, but I guess it just wasn't in the cards. At least right now, maybe who knows? Maybe they could bring her back and tie her back in at some point. But this movie is about these two sisters,
Mhm.
one of which is a mother of at least two children. And I saw some of the images. They showed some of the deadites.
Yeah.
They showed
Yeah.
the aunt is the one that's trying to protect the kids because I think the mother turns and
Oh,
and there's this image with the aunt and she's got a shotgun, the boomstick, and it looks great.
man,
It looks
cool.
great.
I,
Yeah.
I I hope they keep some of the humor out of it. I mean, give us a little bit of a chuckle here and there, but make it kind of tongue in cheeks or something like that. Don't
Yeah.
not so much in the face. Please don't go Army of Darkness. Please,
Right,
I
right,
do
right.
not Army of Darkness at all. I never have.
Really?
Yeah, I do not like it. To me, it's way too much.
Yeah, it is. Well, this is how I look at it, and it's funny because I kind of go through phases. Like
Mhm.
there's sometimes, like when I was a kid, Army of Darkness was cool because
Right.
I was a kid. But then as I got older, like in my late teens, I wasn't as into it. I mean, it was still, I still love watching Bruce Campbell. Obviously, that's the draw is watching him do his thing. But when I got older, it kind of fell down in my rankings a bit. But I do agree. I think that this one, have a little bit here and there of some humor, but don't go overboard. I think it should be. I want it to be something that really is gripping, and I talked about this in a couple live streams. It makes me think of scenes like in Dawn, when they go to the complex and they have to try to rescue people, and there's a whole high rise full of zombies and stuff. Like it could have that type of claustrophobia and terror that goes on, and I hope it does. I
Yeah,
really do.
I thought it was really interesting that they was going to the high rise rather than the cabin.
Yeah,
Which tells me that they're wanting to get creative. They're wanting to do something different with it, which is cool.
right.
Because I just don't think that if you went back to the cabin again, I'm just not sure where they would be able to go with it. New.
Right. Right, right. I mean, this could literally open up the whole franchise, the whole mythology. You know what I'm saying? Like this could really take it into some really cool
Yes.
places, and I hope it does. Now, the fact that it's coming out in theaters is a good thing too, because I guess the
They
test
paid the
screenings
money.
were so good that they said, "Hey, man, we're not gonna put this on streaming. We got to put this out in the theaters." So that's a really good sign. A real
Yeah,
good sign.
that's what I was telling you about last week. Was
Mm-hmm.
that was the latest that I had heard, and I was excited about that because I was like, wow, it was
Mm-hmm.
so good that even the studio said, yeah, we're not going to put it to streaming, we're going to put it in theater. You
Right.
know,
Right.
that's something when you don't even have to talk the studio into it. It's the studio's idea to do it.
Right.
I mean, they're like, wow, because people were so overwhelmed with it. So
Yep.
that right there gets me. You know, um,
Yeah, man.
but as long as they stay somewhat serious with it, stay a little bit with the, a little bit with the attitude of the first one. The first one
Yeah.
to me, I mean, of course they were young. The makeup wasn't quite together yet.
Mm-hmm.
You got the effects like that at the end. But certain parts of that are really terrifying.
Yeah.
That original one. I remember seeing that as a kid, man, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like her sitting there chuckling, hey, did I laugh and shit, cocking her head. There's something
Yes.
about the way they move, and something about like when the sister, when she starts saying, Jack of Diamond, you know what I mean? She pops up and she says, we will, and the way they move, and she's
Yeah.
talking, her mouth is not moving. Something about that is creepy as hell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was definitely that's the thing about the older movies like that, man. I was just talking about it last night on Slasher Movie Club. We were talking about this slasher that was really low budget indie, and it was all right. It was, not bad for holiday slasher, but it just makes me think about movies like Evil Dead, Friday the 13th, movies like that where a lot of times people who may not be huge fans of them like us, they may not realize these movies were really limited in budget and also limited in what movies could do at the time with practical, but yet Sam Raimi, Tom
Yeah,
Savini, these pioneers, Rob Bottin and The Thing, they found a way to make certain things that
yeah,
seemed impossible possible, and it really is a credit to those movies. That's why those movies have lasted through time, because they were well done. The camera work was good music, and people put their blood, sweat, and tears into it, and I think that's one thing that's still so cool about movies like The Evil Dead or Friday the 13th.
You're
um
talking about people that couldn't even grow a beard yet. I mean, Rob Bottin was barely old enough to go to a bar when he
right,
did the thing, and he
that's
was still
right.
like, and he was still a kid. He didn't have laugh lines yet in the Howling,
Yep,
and he was creating something. People say, "Oh, it's too much bubbly." It's like, man, he was 18 years old.
that's right.
He couldn't even go get a beer. You know what I mean? Give
Right.
him at 18 years old, I'd be proud as hell to be able to do something like that.
Right? Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, you look back on it and it's like those things are they're just legendary moments, I mean, and it's cool. And I feel like I always say this on my stuff when we talk about these classic horror movies is that I'm just so lucky. I feel lucky that I grew up at a time when I could appreciate a lot of these things as they happened. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because it really was a golden age, like they say. It was a golden age for horror, I think. You know,
When they came out, we were basically still little kids,
right?
and we were sitting here watching this, not a thought in our head of, hey, just a teenager not much older than me made this, you
Right.
know. So
Right.
we were sitting there going, wow, and the fact that we were so affected, it really speaks volumes, in my opinion.
Yep. True enough, man. True enough. Sam Raimi running around the woods, holding a camera, chasing Bruce. I mean, it's like it's
College
guerrilla
students,
filmmaking.
they were college students, so yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
cool shit.
Bruce Campbell, yeah, but I'm just afraid that I hope they don't go even to an intense Evil Dead 2. I don't even want him to go that far. I want him to go more scary. Because just
Mm,
because Bruce Campbell was good at doing that didn't mean, in my opinion, that they should have went to the level they went in Army of Darkness. So
right.
that's what
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what I think about it. But from what I've heard, that's not the case. So it's a little more like the remake. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They used a whole bunch of blood. I forgot how many gallons, like 6,000 gallons or liters or whatever it was of blood, fake blood and stuff. So they definitely seem to be heading down
that's
the
more
right
like,
path.
yeah, more towards the OG, because I think how much I've seen the documentaries on the original, and then
Hmm.
on Evil Dead 2, and that's about what they use typically.
Yep.
I never thought that I would get excited about an Insidious movie again after part four, but the bringing back Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, the kid, I can't remember his name, the kid that was in the first and second Insidious. They're bringing all of
Yep.
them back. He's growing up now in college and everything.
Hmm.
And if Patrick Wilson's going to be now not taking, I'm going to forget about the fact that he did Moonfall, because and I'm going to talk about the quality stuff that he's done.
Yep.
Hopefully, this is along that line, because Moonfall, oh man.
What about is Lynn Shay going to be in the new one? Have you heard?
For they for what I had heard, they didn't really know yet, but they was assuming yes, because
Okay.
they don't think they would have moved forward with it without her. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's still early with it, but
Yeah.
I just kind of want to talk about some things that I'm hoping to see with it, because
Sure.
the last one was Last Key or whatever,
Yeah.
or I can't remember. All I know is I seen that one once, and it was so run of the mill that what I mean. It was so not like, because some people shit on the third one, but I liked the third one with that girl in it.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah. Me
Patrick
too.
Wilson and those characters were in it, I thought that they went really good with it. I thought it was just as good as
Yeah.
first two. That's just my opinion.
I agree, man. I agree with you on that.
Her being, hurt from getting hit by that car and everything, and couldn't really move around, and she couldn't get away,
Yep.
and she was getting slammed all over the floor and everything else by with the man who can't breathe. You know what I mean? That was
It
scary to me.
it was. I agree, man. Yeah, it was a good one. It really, really was. I really do enjoy those movies in general. Like you said, the last one was, but
But the first three, you know,
mm-hmm.
the first one is really what they really where they got their really got
Yeah.
their audience. And then the
Yeah.
second one continued because it continued right on the ass end of the last story.
Yep.
But yeah, Lin Shaye has got to be in it.
Yeah, man. I mean, they don't
No
call her
good
the
way to
godmother of horror for nothing. She's just awesome. That was the one thing about the first movie. I mean, I get it. You make a movie and you don't plan for a franchise, but obviously at the end of the movie, when what happened to her character happened, I was just like, no, because she really was the glue. Obviously they found a way to kind of keep her in it, so to
Yeah,
speak, but I kind of wish they didn't do that to her character because I loved her and the two guys, Spec, Leigh Whannell, and that other guy. They were they were cool, mysterious, and also a little humor too. They were great.
yeah. What's unfortunate about this next one, since it follows them, is they're not going to be able to go with her when she's still alive.
Right.
I wish they'd have kept her alive a little longer, and
Yes.
I think if they knew that they was going to go this far, this many sequels, to be this successful, I think they would have thought differently. Because
Right.
now they got to get really creative about a way to keep her in there.
Mm-hmm.
They did that with the second one with that friend of hers, and that's how they kept her in. I just wonder how they're going to do it this time. Because she
I,
has to be in it, or people are going to be shitty about it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I would be.
Right. Yeah.
She
No, I
carries it.
agree. She's great, man. She's just one of those people that I just love seeing in horror movies, man. She's
Right,
just one of those
right.
people.
I think if they known that it kept going, I think they would have kept her alive at least through the second.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
They just didn't foresee it being getting as big as it was because in this day and age, especially even back when they made the first Insidious, um, the possession and the evil, you know what I mean, and the evil type thing had been dying out. People weren't going
Mm-hmm.
for it as much, and they just probably didn't foresee it doing as well as it did.
Yeah.
But they did it the right way, and that's why it caught on. And then
Right.
toward the fourth one, they started doing it the wrong way. They started using
Mm.
the same old tricks, just like just like Juan and them starting to. I really wish Juan would have stayed on the trail of stayed with like the Saw. We talked a lot last week about the Saw, and
Yeah.
I didn't get tired of talking about the Saw. You know,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this next one. I even after we did the show, I even watched the first three over again.
Nice.
So I got inspired. It had been a long time since I've watched it.
Yeah. 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 No, they're good, man. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fan of the franchise, and I can't wait for the new one. And I agree. The thing about the Saw movies is that it really was horror wrapped in like a cop procedural mystery type of format. You
It's the
know.
only thing that's ever done it like that. We talked about that. It's the only thing that's ever went like that,
Yep.
and it made it interesting. And I
It really
thought it
did.
stayed interesting all the way through what seven, you
Yeah,
know,
I agree.
up to
Yeah.
Jigsaw. Now I've seen Jigsaw a couple different times, and I do not remember it very well. I've
Hmm.
seen Spiral once. Spiral wasn't bad. I thought people were a little rough on it. I thought it was a little better than that. I didn't think it was as
Yeah.
bad as they talked about.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Spiral, they definitely tried to kind of get it back to some gritty roots. And I thought they did. Dude, I'm just telling you, Chris Rock shocked the hell out of me because
But
I didn't think he could pull it off like he did. And I thought it was great. It had a couple of missteps. But in other words, I think Spiral did a better job of moving beyond John Kramer than Jigsaw did. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So,
Jigsaw still relied a lot on a little too much on him, where
yep.
Spiral was able to at least go somewhere else. I'm not sure people wanted it to go somewhere else. You
Right,
know,
right.
as,
It's
as much
yeah.
as they bitched about the same old thing, when they did
Mhm.
go somewhere else, that's just a movie fan for you.
Yep. It's
And as far
true.
as as far as Chris Rock goes, I remember all the way back to New Jack City. I knew Chris Rock could act because
Oh
he was
yeah.
really young in New Jack City and did a damn good job in that. Everybody
Mhm.
did. That's just a good flick, man. And
Yeah, it
I
is.
knew he had the skill to pull it off. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, he did.
He's not just a jokester.
Mhm.
He's not
Absolutely.
he's not just a comedian. You know what I mean? He can
Mhm.
act. He proved that a long time. And a lot of people, I'm
Yep.
not sure a lot of people have seen New Jack City. So if they want to see proof that he could act, that's all they got to do is go to New Jack City and watch that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good point, man. That's a good point.
Um, but yeah, back to the Insidious. I'm not sure it's come along far enough to really say too much about it, but I mean,
Mhm.
I just kind of wanted to talk about what I expected and what I was hoping it was going to be, just like with Evil Dead. You know, we're still early on in those movies. Um,
Yeah.
so you um, did you get any more of a look at the mean one?
I haven't really seen a lot more of it. I mean, I've seen like bits and pieces, obviously the trailer and read a little bit about it. Obviously, David Howard Thornton, who plays Art, is doing the Grinch. But other than that, no, not really too much more. I mean, I'm assuming that he's gonna kill it in that particular role because I think he's just fantastic as Art. He just is very expressive physically, the way he moves and stuff. So I know he'll be fine. Um,
Like a shitty version of Jim Carrey's, like the Jim Carrey's one that got really pissed. Not pissed like he wasn't a Grinch, but I mean really pissed, like someone took
right.
his girlfriend pissed. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that makeup looks like Jim. It looks like the Jim Carrey makeup, except for
It
like he got possessed by Pazuzu. You know.
right. It does. It does.
And I didn't see one laugh in that. But I said, "Oh my god!" You know, when it was on, I said, "Oh my god, another one." And then by the time the trailer was over, I was like, "Wow, oh my god!"
Right. Yeah, man.
So yeah, I'm really wanting to see that one still.
Yeah.
Um, I still haven't seen Christmas Bloody Christmas, but I think
I
that
was
is so hilarious. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! He's chopping up people the whole time. About oh, oh.
yeah.
You know, I sent you that message because it just tickled me inside somehow. You know what I mean?
I've been hearing good things about it though, so I definitely gotta check it out. I really, really do at some point. Hopefully soon. My watch list is so friggin' long, it's not even funny. But from everyone that I've heard that has seen it, they've said it's good, that you have to check it out. So yeah, hopefully I'll be
Awesome.
doing that soon.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, man.
We are live, or not live. The premiere is on right now. Hopefully, it's going well. Hopefully, people enjoy it. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to checking it out myself.
Yeah, me too,
Um,
man.
you got anything else you want to cover today, or you just want to catch it back next week? Or
That's pretty much all I had for this week. And we
okay.
can figure out what we got going on for next week.
All right.
All right.
That'll work. Then let's go check ourselves out and see how we did.
All
And
right.
we'll catch you next time. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
And we will catch you next time. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully, we can keep going like this. So
Yeah.
until next week, I am definitely GoreAphobe, and you guys are not.
And I'm definitely the Nightwatch Zone, and you guys are not.
That's right. You definitely is. Take it easy.
All right, man.